Not a whole lot.
Are you guys done with fall ball?
Yeah, we start up like individual practices next week, or like optional individual practices.
Okay, cool. How'd it go for you?
It's pretty good.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited we finally get to do this. I've been a little bit inconsistent. The most inconsistent podcast out there. So we're recording video and audio here. So the video will be on YouTube hopefully later tonight. And then I'll try to get the audio uploaded on Spotify by the end of the day as well. So we're here with Drew Conn, Peak Prospects legend, Mink League snub from the All-Star game. We'll get to that in a little bit, but current Grandview University pitcher. And man, it's good to see you. And let's we'll just dive right into it. This past summer, I think, was one of the best summer experiences for me personally as a coach or a player. Really, it was one of the best summers that I've ever had, and I think all the guys that we had on the squad would agree as well. In large part thanks to you and the energy that you brought, and kind of that calm demeanor that you bring to the mound as well. So put some notes down. The first thing I have on here is how many times did you ask me, Coach, what do I got to do to get on the pod?
There was a lot of times that I asked that question.
Probably like 200. I would say like 200.
At least 200. Multiple times a day.
And so I said, yeah, you got to do something cool, right? That ranged from anywhere between throwing a no-hitter to I don't know what else it would have been, but I want to ask you what you think the cool thing that you did to earn this opportunity on the podcast today.
I mean, I really don't know. I think probably being St. Joe's dad, I would think.
You're on the right track. You were so good against them that this is a pretty good story. And we told you this after, I think, the third time you pitched against St. Joseph. Their manager blew up your headshot and put it in their locker room. He posted it in their locker room, which to me is like the ultimate sign of you absolutely dominated them all summer. And so that to me was the cool thing that you did. I think it's hilarious too, because after they did that, they still couldn't hit you. Yeah. But I mean, through 3 games, I recorded through 3 games of stats against them. They've won the Mink League 3 years in a row. Like, they got Division I dudes up and down their lineup. Really good team. But through 3 games, you had 15 innings pitched, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, just 5 walks to 14 Ks. What was it about pitching against St. Joe? Like, I mean, you were good all summer, but was there something, in that environment on a Friday night in front of 2,000 to 3,000 fans that kind of got you going? Or
I think that had a big part in it. Just being able to throw in front of a bunch of people was a pretty cool experience. But yeah, I don't really know why I was so dominant against them. I think maybe I was just on those three days. But
I think maybe it was the fact that number one, you got the glasses on. Number 2, you show up with an orange belt and red shoes when the team colors are black and yellow. And these, I mean, if I'm in the other dugout, I'm thinking like, who the hell is this guy? But man, to watch you perform the way you did against those guys was really fun. And I think I learned a lot from you in terms of like just the way you go about your business from before the game to in between innings, just like that calm demeanor that you have. So I want to go into that a little bit. Like what do you do to remain that calm, in big moments too? You never really got away from that. Like what is it about? Is it something that you do outside of baseball that kind of keeps you that level-headed, or what is it?
I don't really know. I think it's just mainly trying not to get too caught up in the moment, whatever it is. Just like try to stay relaxed, breathing. Conversations in the dugout get pretty fun. I don't know. It's just kind of staying calm and collective.
Yeah. So you kind of have that energy, where it's just kind of a game, right? I mean, you want to do well, but at the same time, it's just something that you get to do for fun too. So how do you like find that balance, I guess, between having fun and really being locked in when you need to be?
I think it comes with age. So I'm getting up there in age for college baseball. But I think that is one of the big things. Like I kind of played a lot of college baseball, so I know that things happen, like errors happen, getting
Mhm.
hit happens. So
Kind of an
not
experience thing, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. And I kind of feel the same way about how my career progressed too. But let's go into that then. So you chose to go to a junior college out of high school.
Mm,
So walk me through that process. You're from Illinois, right?
yeah.
And so how did you decide to go that route versus, going to a 4-year right away?
I went junior college because some of the 4 years I was getting offers from or talking to were wanting me to play football and baseball, and I kind of just wanted to focus on baseball. That's my favorite sport by far. But I think I chose JUCO because I had a couple buddies on the team that I originally went to, and they were saying it
Okay.
was a good experience and it was pretty fun places to build. So
So let's talk about what that kind of did for your development. Obviously I'm assuming you got to compete right away versus maybe sitting on the bench for a year or two.
yeah.
Um, so how did that kind of help develop you into the pitcher that you are now?
Well, I think like how I was talking about how with age comes like knowledge that errors and hits and all that stuff's going to happen. Like as a freshman, I know I was the closer for my first college, and that's obviously high stress situations whenever you're coming in 1 run lead against whoever. And I think that really helped because back then I was horrible keeping calm. I was throwing tantrums on the mound and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, I don't know. Kind of lost track of my thought there, but
Well, no, it all comes down to just like having more experience in those big moments where like you have to fail first before
mm,
you really understand how to handle like failure, I guess. You have to experience that. And um I think if anybody, like at least on the team that we were with this past summer, if anybody showed that, it was definitely you. There's some weird things that happened. I remember it was at St. Joe. What was it, like Christmas in July, I think?
yeah,
And they didn't schedule umpires,
yeah,
right? And so like you're going through your whole normal warm up routine. Um, I think they already knew that they didn't have umpires, and they just didn't tell us until about 5 minutes before the game started. And so what we waited like an hour, I think,
yeah. It was like an
before
hour.
any umpires showed up, and you basically had to go through that whole routine twice. um and it did affect you like that. That was one of those things that I think it really actually got to you in terms of the way you started out. The first inning was kind of rough, but eventually you settled in. I think there was probably some frustration. I think everybody was really frustrated about that.
Yeah.
But eventually you did kind of battle through that and settle in a little bit. So one of the weirder things that's ever happened, to me, at least in my baseball experience, not necessarily the right thing, but I think we dealt with that pretty well, all things considered. So I do want to talk about, I mentioned it at the beginning. Um, for the record, I hope the Mink League director is listening to this. Low probability there, but I hope he is. It is an absolute shame that you did not make the All-Star game. Okay. The biggest snub in Mink League history by far. It's not even close. We got your season stats here: 52 innings pitched, 3.78 ERA, 54 Ks to 18 walks. Beating the best team in the league. I think we can all agree that St. Joe is the best team in the league. They've won it 3 years in a row, dominated them all year, and for some reason didn't get a spot in the All-Star game. But what you did get and what you earned was a spot in the Northwoods League with the Duluth Huskies after our season had ended in July. So pretty cool experience, I'm sure. I pulled up your stats there. It's 15 innings, 14 hits, three earned runs, 8 Ks, 7 walks. Obviously against a little bit better competition, but what was that experience like for you? And did you expect to be in that situation?
I didn't expect it at all. I actually started to shut down right after our season, and then got a text from one of the Duluth coaches. So I obviously went out there because that's a pretty cool experience that I've always wanted to do. But yeah, it was really fun. We played pretty much every single day that I was up there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember they were telling me the day I got there, they were just getting back from the longest road trip they had all season. It was like 8 hours or something like that. And it was cool hanging out with all like the D1 guys. Like we had some Vanderbilt kids on the team. That was pretty sweet. They were talking to Enrique Bradfield. I was like, that's crazy. It's kind of crazy to bug out with guys who are friends with Enrique Bradfield. But yeah, it was pretty cool. The hitters were studs. There was a lot of long at bats against them. I was trying to throw everything by them, but it wasn't working. But yeah.
Well, and you're the kind of pitcher who's not like, you're not a velocity dominant kind of guy, right? I don't know how many pitches you have. I would say like 5 or 6 probably. I mean, yeah, I mean, but to me, it was like, the way that you were able to get guys out all summer, like you have the strikeout numbers, you have the low batting average against, and all the while you're what, mid 80s or so.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I want to hear from you, and maybe this could help, some pitchers who aren't necessarily velocity guys. What have you learned over the past year or two with, not being able to just blow it by guys? How have you learned to pitch that way? Like, what is it that's helped you be so effective?
I think just filling up the strike zone early and often really helps. Like getting that first pitch strike is huge, and not falling behind because you can't rely on 93 coming in. And not a lot of people can hit that at whatever level you're at. But yeah, I mean, just working in off-speed pitches in the zone is huge because those are tough to hit whenever they're moving. But
and that's what I think you have found out too in the college game. If you can consistently compete in the zone with, like, sometimes even just 2 pitches, if you're consistent with those 2, like most of the time you're going to be all right. And if you have 3, that's even better. If you have 4, no matter what they are, if they do different things, if you can be consistent in the zone, you're going to be really, really good at the college level. So in terms of like becoming a strike thrower, is it like a mental thing, or is it like experience, repetition? Like, how have you become so good at that? Because a lot of young guys, they struggle to just throw strikes, even in if it like fall inter squad scrimmages, some guys really struggle with that. So what is it that's helped you become better at that?
I think it's just having like trust in your pitches and repetition, obviously, but like trusting that you can get this change up in the zone and he's not going to hit it 400 feet, or just getting ahead and throwing strikes. I don't know.
Fair enough, man. I mean, that's what I appreciate about you is like you really keep things simple, right? Like you don't let things get too complicated, and that's why I think you're so good in big moments. But that kind of leads me into my next question. Are you the most chill pitcher in all of college baseball?
I don't know about the most chill pitcher, but I would think I'm pretty chill for
up there, right?
Yeah.
Do you have on your glove, what does it say on your glove?
It says "Just keep living" from Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. So why don't you dive into that and how it connects to the baseball side of things?
Well, I just kind of have it on there just to remind me that like baseball is a game. There's a lot of more important things that people go through other than giving up a home run or blowing a lead. Like it's supposed to be fun. So like just have fun while you're out there for as long as you can.
Absolutely, man. So, and you kind of already answered this as well, but what do you attribute your success to? I know that's kind of a general question, but like think about from little league up to where you are now. What do you think has contributed to being successful at the college level?
Um, I would say probably failure. Like I've failed quite a bit in baseball, but like once you fail once, it builds you, or whatever. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Mhm.
That's saying. But yeah, like I failed in college before. At my first junior college, whenever I was the closer, I actually lost the role halfway through the season, but and then lost my scholarship, which pretty tough. But I like to think that that probably helped me, like get a little chip on my shoulder to go out there and show them that they shouldn't have dropped my scholarship. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's that I did not know about you. So that's interesting, but it sounds like, you've been able to bounce back from some adverse situations. So um no, man, I agree with you. A lot of it comes down to experience, but I guess my goal for younger pitchers is to like accelerate that process. But
mm,
I mean, there's no substitute for experience, right? So a lot of it is based on that, but um, I appreciate you sharing that with us too. Um, so in terms of your, we've kind of touched on the mindset, your training methods, like you just keep living your mantra. Like what got you into that, or like have you always been that way? In terms of your mindset, do you read books, or do you just like are you just kind of living in the moment?
kind of living in the moment. I follow a guy named Robbie Rowland on Instagram. He talks about breathing and a bunch of his things. So I kind of dove into that a little bit, and I feel like I perform better whenever I'm calm. So breathing helps, like breathing techniques and stuff like that.
Sure.
But yeah.
And do you use that like outside of baseball too?
Yeah, I try to use that as much as possible, like for tests and stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
tests are tough sometimes, so you gotta just keep living, I guess.
I hear you, man. Well, that's good. And um, really, I want to get your thoughts on this, like advice for younger pitchers who are just beginning their college careers, because you've talked a lot about your experience and how you've kind of bounced back from some tough things, losing that scholarship. So, if say for example you have a freshman pitcher who's probably not going to get a ton of innings in their first college season, what advice would you have for a kid like that?
I would just have them, focus on building, uh, get confident with their pitches, be able to deal with giving up hits and stuff like that, because everyone in college was a stud at their high school. Like everyone was the top guy, and now they're all a bunch of more top guys from their high schools and stuff like that. So you just got to be able to deal with adversity as much as possible, like get into tough situations and try to get out of them.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, okay, I'll add in another question here at the end. I don't necessarily, we never really got into like what you want to do outside of baseball when baseball is done with, but a lot of the times I tell guys that you need to have a purpose outside of baseball. Like if baseball is your only thing, then you're going to really
Mm.
struggle when it's over. So I'm curious on, as in your case, what is it outside of baseball that really keeps you going? Like what's kind of that purpose for you?
Um, I really, I don't know. I was going to coach whenever I'm done with baseball, but I don't. Yeah, it's not good. I don't really have one. I don't think.
Well, and part of that is like what I appreciate about you maybe not having an answer there is like you are so in the moment, like there's something to be said about like, yeah, you gotta, you know, have it figured out and know what you're going to do. But I mean, I'm almost 30 and I still don't have it figured out. So I appreciate that aspect of you, just being in the moment and being confident in who you are, and being consistent with who you are as a baseball player, but also outside of baseball. So I don't have any other questions for you. Do you have any other questions for me?
Well, I just want to know how Cal or coaching over at Earlham's going, or is that how you say it?
The H is silent.
Okay.
Earlham. The
Earlham,
H and
okay.
almost the A is almost silent too, but
Yep.
it's good, man. It's I feel really lucky to be here. The coaching staff that I'm surrounded with is top of the line. I mean, day in and day out, they put their best effort forth and never stop learning. So it's a little bit different than where I was last year, but appreciative for that experience as well. Unfortunately, won't be able to come back to the prospects next summer. So I don't know what your plans are. Are you planning to pitch for them again?
I don't know yet. We're still up in the air for what's next summer, but we'll see.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully you can get back in, maybe back into the Northwoods League and see what happens from there. That would be pretty cool for you.
Yeah.
You got anything else for me?
I don't think so.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you getting on this for us and giving us a little bit of insight into, how to become a more calm pitcher, a better pitcher, all those things. I think you are, you're a really good role model for younger pitchers in the college game. So really grateful for the opportunity to coach you and be on the team with you this past summer, man. I had a ton of fun with that. And I'm looking forward to following along you guys this spring, you and Rocky and Craven too. And Craven, he'll be in there too.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys are gearing up and it'll have a good season there.
Well, thank you too.
Absolutely, man. We'll be in touch, right?
Yeah.
All right, Drew. Thanks, man.
Bye.